boat's 55 feet long, about 10 feet of beam, built of double plank Honduran mahogany, and powered today by two World War II vintage V12 Allison aircraft engines, and they're rated at about between 1,000 and 1,100 horsepower each. So this is very much like flying an aircraft. If we had wings, we could probably take off. We powered it up and had some wings we could put out, but boat's capable, I've been told, of about 60 knots.
This is the most unique wooden vessel in the world, and maybe the most valuable wooden runabout in the world. When George Whitell built his Thunderbird Lodge on the east shore of Lake Tahoe, he asked John Hacker, the famous naval architect, to design him an all-weather commuter, something that could manage the waves that are picked up by the afternoon zephyrs here at Lake Tahoe, something that had the lines of his DC-2 aircraft and his Duesenberg automobiles. The Thunderbird is the result of that request. Built 67 years ago last week, she was launched on July 13th of 1940 here at Tahoe City Marina, one of the last hauls of the short line railroad that ran from Truckee to Tahoe City. She was built in Michigan by the Ben Huskins of the Huskins Boat Works in Bay City, Michigan. She did her sea trials on Lake Michigan before coming to Lake Tahoe. Whitell used her in the summer of 40 and 41 to haul groceries, supplies, and mail between the villages of Zephyr Cove, Crystal Bay, and the Thunderbird Lodge. I guess one could say that was the 1940 equivalent of the soccer mom's SUV. And it was typically just used for these Sunday outings for mail and groceries. He didn't use her much. She had 83 hours on her when he parked her in the boathouse in December of 1941 at the beginning of World War II. And some say, as local legend goes, he had a fear the government wanted her for the war effort for her Kermith engines. And we can't substantiate that, but some of the locals tell us he even went so far to camouflage the boathouse. Everybody, of course, knew the Thunderbird was in the boathouse. And there she sat, basically untouched, ignored by George Whitell. Why would he leave his precious Thunderbird boat alone like that, ignore it? Well, Whitell was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, dedicated himself to never working an honest day in his life. And he spared no expense in indulging his fancies at the moment. And much like the man that builds an electric train set, a model railroad, the fun was all in the building of these endeavors. The airplane, the boat, the lodge, and then once they were constructed, like that old man building the electric train set, watching the train go around in circles really didn't have a whole lot of appeal. He would often construct these things, be all-consuming in the construction thereof, and then he would step aside and basically ignore that which he built. And the boat was no different. He entertained a few offers to buy her, and basically when the buyer showed up, he, for one reason or another, found an excuse not to consummate the deal.